Advertising in the Metaverse, cryptocurrency. What does all of this mean? Today we're sitting with Harris, who is the Founders Associate for Versadex, a company who specialise in advertising in the Metaverse. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry, I'm not sure what it means either, but we're going to find out today. So Harris, thank you for coming on, welcome.
Hello, how's it going?
I'm doing good, thanks, how are you?
I'm good, doing well. It was a great intro.
Yeah, thanks. Been working on it. It's been a while. Got a bit of a cold, but
he's back. The man is back. Adam Bashiri's back.
yeah,
He's back.
Back with a baby.
Back with a bang and a baby. Fatherhood these days.
Yeah.
Obviously, Adam touched upon the metaverse, cryptocurrency and stuff. What I heard, you're also a law graduate as well.
Yeah, that's right. I studied law at university. Technically. So yeah, it's quite an interesting sort of story. So. I think from school I was super interested in anything that would, I guess it's kind of cliche, but anything that would make the world a bit of a better place. So, and my passion was always to go into sort of human rights law. So yeah, I studied law at university just because my interest was in human rights law. So it was just to kind of help people across the world get rid of poverty, get out of poverty. Specifically because my dad came from Pakistan and stuff, so I've seen poverty when I go back there. So your
dad came. How long ago did he come?
So he came. He was a professional cricket player. So he came
right,
to play cricket in Scotland. Yeah, you can actually make money playing cricket in Scotland, which is crazy. So he came in, I think it was 1996. 96, and then stayed on. And then
Was he by any chance one of the cricketers? Now my dad tells me this story all the time. The Pakistan team were over here playing. It was years ago, right? They were playing a game, and it was time for their return flight. Right. Half of them didn't want to return. Half of them were hiding in carryouts and shops and saying, "No, we're not going anywhere. We're here. You're not getting us. You're not taking us back." But no, so that's interesting. So he came. He came here as a cricket player, and then. What was his journey like after cricket? Did he go into business or?
Yeah, he drank the Kool-Aid, so he came. I think he gathered up enough money. He told me this. So he gathered up enough money from family and friends to buy a ticket to come and play here with his club team in Rawalpindi.
Oh right.
So to play in Bradford, so he got a kind of taste of what the British sort of culture looked like, and the fact that there is actually money to be made in cricket. So you can actually play cricket for a club, make enough money to survive, plus do a few shifts at a shop or whatever. But obviously it's like the classic sort of immigrant dream. And then went back to Pakistan, came back and settled in Glasgow, and then sort of got a couple jobs here to play professionally. But it's quite interesting. Like, it's just any route in will do, for anyone from third world countries. So
a lot of people are going down the education route nowadays.
The education route.
They come in for education and then they'll just never turn up to their classes.
Yeah, my dad barely finished high school education, so that was.
No, well, what do you think about that? Because see, someone who's I'm proud of our country, right? Pakistan, where we come from, and for me, it doesn't. I don't. At the same time as you don't feel like you don't want to kind of cut the ladder or whatever they say. You don't want to.
Burn the bridges,
or discourage people from coming here because we've came here. Our grandparents have came here, but for me, I'm like, why is everyone running away?
Yeah,
I know it's a developing country, but there's opportunity there. There's people in 100%. Pakistan, right? Guys who sell fruit juice. So I've seen who've started off with wee carts and now they're making money like a franchise as if they're a doctor, you know what I mean? They're making that kind of money because they've built on it, and there is opportunity. There's a lot of poverty, there's a lot of crime there as well. What do you think about that? Do you think that people need to in third world countries should focus on their own and kind of try and I know this sounds like a Nigel Farage, but it's like
yeah, get them all back.
I know, keep them there, but I want them to build the country. You know?
It's a tough one, right? And it's heartbreaking sometimes as well. Like Adam, I think like. I go back like every 2 or 3 years, and I've got family and I speak the language. I'm sure you're the same. It's heartbreaking to see Pakistan just never like developing at all. I think so. When I was in uni, one of my specialities was in like public international law and why some countries are essentially poorer than others. Right, that was like, a main factor. A lot of the time it's because there's no, and it's gonna sound a bit boring, but there's no institutions in Pakistan, right? So, for example, here we know that if we don't have a job, we can go to the job centre and sign on, and we'll have enough money to get a council house and enough for groceries, and then that will sustain us until we find a job, and then hopefully we can reskill in that job, and then suddenly there's wealth in your family, right? That is always a possibility. There's that really good safety net. We also know that doesn't matter what family you're born into, whether you're poor or you're rich, there is a way for you to eventually become rich, right? And there's plenty of like stories of that. So you got sort of people who start in sales jobs with 0 degrees, learn how to sell, and then start businesses, and then invest that in property, and now they're multimillionaires. Nothing like that exists in Pakistan because those institutions just don't exist for people to sort of have benefits. If they don't have any money, they don't have any money. There's no way for them to get jobs. There's no way for them to like sort of reskill and retrain and educate themselves. And so I kind of understand where like a lot of people it's just a totally hopeless situation. Like obviously, I'm sure like in the middle class in Pakistan it's pretty much the same here. They've got enough. They're just probably a bit lazy, like not working hard. But I'd say like for the maybe like majority almost of the population, like social mobility just doesn't really exist. And so that's when my dad came here. Like you could see like there's at least there's a chance that you could do okay. And alhamdulillah, he actually did do alright.
Yeah, definitely. You see that over there. It's like when it is harder for people to come from because the class system there is very
massive issue.
Bakka. It's like it's really there. It's not like 100%. The way it is here.
Exactly.
I think here the middle class is huge, and then you've got the people that are in poverty, and then you've got but the middle class is bigger over there.
There is none. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, exactly. You're either really rich or really poor.
Is it almost like that way as well? Like you've got it's like two extremes. There's not really much of a halfway house sort of thing.
Yeah, it's so you got into law. You want to do human rights. What is it that kind of drove you away from going into that career, into that field?
So literally just what I spoke to you like. A lot of this is the kind of stuff that I really wanted to change. So you know, countries are built on middle classes. How can we get more people in middle classes, right? I always thought that the best way to do that was through human rights, right? So like, how can it not be? Because you know, you've got an organization like the UN who's telling everyone we're going to change the world, we're going to put less people in poverty. So how can that not be the case? And then obviously I did a law degree because it was a natural next step. But I just remember like first of all with law firms, that's not what they do. So they're very much profit driven. It's for revenue. So I think I realized I didn't want to be a lawyer when I was doing a vacation scheme at a law firm. And their offices were on the 4th floor. I remember you had to get a lift to get up to the 4th floor. And I remember just getting to about level 2 and just being like, I really hope this lift gets stuck today so that I don't have to go in. It's like a Friday morning. I remember getting in and I was like, nah, this is not gonna.
You started work as a lawyer after you graduated?
No, this was during university.
Oh, as an internship.
I did a bunch of like vacation schemes.
Oh, right, okay, right.
Try and get a taste of it. Yeah. But then I remember like after university, I read a book called Why Nations Fail. Right. It's from Darren Acemoglu, really, really good book. And I remember he said it was a quote in that book where he went, when the US invaded Afghanistan, a bunch of organizations came into Afghanistan to give aid and to rebuild Afghanistan, but only about 2% of that money ever reached native Afghan people. Right. All the rest of the money just went on like paying salaries for UN employees and like, went to like corrupt individuals in Afghanistan, got like the rich guys even richer and
then they got probably even more corrupt, and then
exactly.
that's how it all kind of.
I just remember like the lack of efficiency in the UN and NGOs and public sector was just totally put me off. That one chapter just kind of changed my entire perspective. I was like,
and I kind of see where your perspectives went to now. You've thought, right, rather than trying to do it through organisations, I'm going to just try and make a lot of money here and try and do it myself, which makes more sense. So tell us how. So you work for a company that specialises in advertising in the Metaverse.
Yeah.
Just talk us through how that happened.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. So I think the problem is, so I graduated in 2020, which was COVID year.
Oh, right. Hard time.
Like, straight away you're like on the back foot. So like, you know,
Zoom graduation.
Yeah, the Zoom graduation. No closure. Things are getting cancelled left, right, and centre. It was pretty much a nightmare. So, took, and this was around the time I was having a bit of a career crisis as well. I don't know if you guys have felt that at some point in your life, like you don't know what you want to do. Like,
Yeah, I've had that, especially at that age of coming out of uni.
yeah.
Or just for anyone at that age, at like 2021, where you're trying to find your way. That is very stressful because you don't know. And even to this day, I'm 25 now. I've just had my daughter, and I'm still not 100% sure what way I'm gonna go with this. Right, so it's you. I don't think anyone really. You don't really get to the point where you know exactly, what's gonna happen next, but you get used to that uncertainty a wee bit. I think you have a general idea of what you want and where you want to go, but the like exact steps are sometimes blurry.
That's it, exactly. And you leave. So I left university, thinking that I was going to become this hotshot UN lawyer. That got totally like sort of put in the bin. Yeah. And so like, you feel like a total loser like at one point. Like you graduated, the big bad world's hitting. You don't have income coming. You don't have a student loan coming in anymore. You have no money. The bills keep racking up, right? Netflix ain't gonna pay for itself, right? So it's like,
so mum and dad, could you still keep my account on Netflix?
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't delete my profile.
Yeah. And so you feel like a total loser, but I think so. I took pretty much a year out or a year and a half out after graduation to just really find out what I wanted to do, and then I started reading a lot of books or podcasts, watching a lot of interviews. And everything kind of led me towards this idea of going into technology because I thought that is where the world is going. Yeah. Especially after COVID.
100%.
Yeah. And like my goal has always been to be super transparent. My goal has always been to provide value to the world in any way possible. And so before I thought it was like through NGOs and human rights. Now I think it's genuinely through technology and business. To provide value and then have social entrepreneurism. I think that's the best way to do it. Yeah. And so I started up a little law tutoring business where I saw that there was a lot of students who could have done with law tutoring and never quite had the access to good education. So started teaching up law students, built that business up to a point where it was making me enough money. So probably around like £2,000 a month it was getting me like in regular clients. So it was really good. And then used that to get onto a recruitment agency that got graduates into startups, and then from there found Versadex, met Ed, and then it's been happy.
So how did you meet Ed then? Was it through LinkedIn or?
Yeah, so Jumpstart is like this program that they take on a bunch of graduates that are sort of entrepreneurial or into technology. Right. So they take them on, train them up for 3 weeks, and then give them interviews at high growth tech startups in London. Right. So it was a really good way to get exposure to these companies because being from Glasgow, like there is no network of technology.
Say that again. What was the thing?
Jumpstart.
Yeah. Just for anyone listening, that's a really good thing for anyone to apply for.
Great for graduates. I rave about them. I know
Jumpstart.
Matthew and Kabir as well. Like,
is that is it? I might be talking about something different here, but
like Jumpstart in a car.
Yeah, no. But like, Matt, do you know Ian Rennie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get you on, son. JDC Detailing, we need you on here. When he started, when he took it big time for his company, the Valentine Detailing company, what they did was they got workers from the government, I think, and they paid they paid like basic. They didn't need to pay the staff for the first 6 months. Yeah. For the first 6 months, they would get the training, and the government would pay their money.
Subsidise it.
Subsidise it. Sure. So I don't know if that's sort of similar to the Jumpstart that you done, in the sense it was graduates and obviously not like apprentices.
It wasn't the government that did this. Jumpstart is essentially a recruitment agency, so they basically get these graduates, and that's a really good scheme, by the way. I love that kind of scheme, and that's exactly what the Scottish government should be doing more of, and specifically in technology.
I think even like taking it overseas to like Pakistan, I think something like that would be good.
It's fantastic. The government in Pakistan would never probably fund that, but yeah, 100%. Yeah. So Jumpstart is essentially a recruitment agency, so they will train up these graduates who they think are sort of good with, they know about startups and they're sort of interested in that, and then the startups will pay them for like talent, essentially. Right. The idea is that I'm worth X amount of money that Jumpstart get. But it's like a win-win for everyone. The startups get good graduates that are enthusiastic. I get a job at a tech startup, and then Jumpstart get paid. So it's it's a really good model, the recruitment model that they had.
Yeah, so tell us more about the company then. So you met Ed and you joined Versadex. What did Versadex do?
Yeah, so I guess I'll give you a background about how it started. So Ed was my boss. He was the CEO of Earthlink. So he was an ex-McKinsey consultant. So he was essentially sort of consulting people. Then one of the biggest consulting
On
firms.
technology, I take it.
Actually, no. So just crazy projects. Yeah, just crazy projects all around. So Ed was essentially ex-McKinsey consultant. Then he got to head of strategy at Sky Media. So it was the ad sales division, and then got funded to start a company. Right, and his general idea was that in the metaverse, which is any sort of virtual reality platform or any sort of open world platform, there wasn't infrastructure there for people to advertise on it and then make money from it. So you take for ease of use, right? So let's take GTA. Let's take Grand Theft Auto. Everyone's played GTA. Imagine GTA. You were able to own the plots of land on GTA. So let's say now you bought a plot of land for extortionate number of prices. What do you do with that land, right? Because people need to come and make use of that land somehow. So you, as a creator, will create some sort of experience. It could be like a virtual club. It could be like an art gallery, a virtual art gallery. It could be a game, right? So within that sort of plot of land, you need to create some sort of experience. The problem is for those people who created that experience, there's no way to monetize that through advertising. So the way YouTube does it, right? What happens with YouTube is if you get, you guys know, right? Teletalks.
Yeah.
At some point, you guys will want to monetize, right? As soon as you get enough.
Yeah, as soon as we get
as soon as we hit 2 million, we're starting at 1 million the next one.
Right. Yeah. And the way you do that is you press a button called monetize, right? And then YouTube will play its ads that it finds. And then you guys will get paid based on the number of views, right?
Right, okay.
So you get like a $1 CPM, and then YouTube will take 40% of that. So for every 1,000 views, you guys will get $1, and then YouTube will take 40%, so you get 60%. Right? That's the general idea. There's no equivalent of that in the metaverse.
Right.
And if the metaverse is based on user-generated content, so people have to make things, you have to give them an opportunity to monetize.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Okay.
So we were essentially creating the infrastructure.
Sorry, just to kind of interrupt there. So for like that example for GTA, Coca-Cola would pay GTA to advertise Coca-Cola on GTA.
So not GTA, right? So imagine, GTA is centralized technically, but imagine it wasn't. Imagine GTA was, imagine Rockstar didn't actually own GTA.
Yeah, it was just free to everyone.
It was free for everyone, right? So you go in, you buy your plot of land, and then that has value, and Rockstar can never sort of take that away. This is the community ownership model of cryptocurrency, of the metaverse, essentially.
Right, okay.
Fascinating concept, right?
Oh, so you could almost use crypto to then buy that plot of land in GTA.
The plot of land would be held as an NFT, and then you could then trade that and sell that onto some other guy, and then he could sell it onto some other guy.
So the plot of land in GTA could go up in value, and you could make money on that.
And you could rent out that plot of land to someone else as well, and then make a little bit of passive income on the side. Exact same as real life.
And how much money are we talking here? Like that you could make on it? Do you think this could go up to like you could make a good buck off of it?
Well, okay, so GTA won't be because Rockstar owns GTA. So it won't be that. So let me give you an example of Decentraland, right? Decentraland, decentralized land. It's quite funny. Decentraland is the biggest decentralized metaverse platform in the world in terms of user numbers, the amount of people going into it. So Decentraland has, I'm not quite sure how many parcels, but it's got a number of parcels, right? And they're each got coordinates. So they've got 24, 56, 44 minus 144, for example, right? These are coordinate parcels. So you can buy a plot. Now, in October, when Facebook announced that it was changing its name to Meta, the token price and the land price of Decentraland parcels skyrocketed, like genuinely skyrocketed. And a parcel of land in a good location was going for in Decentraland, you're talking about roughly $40,000 at its height. A parcel of land. And so you had this asset worth $40,000 if you bought it. The problem is the price has gone like that in the last few
months. Is that because of the currencies?
Crash and Russia and a bunch of
Ukraine and that.
So it's a really risky market to play around in. But I mean, there's plenty of people who bought up loads of plots of land before Facebook announced that it was changing to Meta. Their lands increased like mad, sold it off, and made mad profit.
So your company, when you are what exactly do you do then? Do you buy the land and then advertise on it, or is that?
Well, that was one idea,
Right.
right? That we could have like bought a bunch of land
Yeah,
and then, got brands to advertise on it. But that wasn't a very scalable model because it just means there's not enough land.
You need to
in
keep
the
putting
metaverse,
more
yeah.
money into it.
Yeah.
So actually, what you're better off doing is the creators have their own land, right? The landowners have their own land, right?
Yeah.
Let them keep that. They want their asset.
Hmm.
Let them create whatever. Let's say they create an art gallery, right? And the idea is that in this art gallery, that's filled with different NFTs that are cool.
Yeah.
That's subjective, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
You take your avatar, you go into this art gallery, you have a look, you wander around. Oh, this is nice, and then you comment, right? But while you're doing that, our advertising unit, our model would be there somewhere. We'd have like a billboard inside there.
Yeah.
And so on that billboard, there would be a brand with a campaign up. Take a Coca-Cola, right? Take a Nike, take an Adidas, right?
Yeah.
And so as soon as someone goes into that art gallery, sees our billboard, that is one impression, that's a view.
Yeah.
And then if the creator gets 1,000 of those impressions, they get paid out by us $5 or whatever.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, and then Coca-Cola, how do you... So what kind of brands do you work with then? Is it...
So right now it's Web3 brands.
Right,
so it'll be very obscure sort of crypto wallets and stuff.
Right.
Because it's not as big to get Coca-Cola.
But so those with those brands...
Yeah.
How do they get billed then? What do they get charged per impression?
They exactly right. So they're gonna pay you. So essentially we're the middleman, right?
Yeah.
So the creator is going to get paid out, the brands are gonna pay in, and we take a fee.
Yeah.
Right? We take a cut.
Yeah.
So I'll give you the YouTube example, right? An advertiser pays YouTube to advertise on a video.
Yep.
The creator, which is you guys, for example, get paid out, and YouTube takes a 40% fee.
Yeah.
In this scenario, we're the YouTube because we're creating the
platform.
Yeah. But I mean, the problem there is that YouTube is allowed to take crazy fees up to 40% because it can.
Because it's a big
Because it's massive.
Yeah, but you'll probably maybe start off for a more attractive thing for
way
the
smaller,
client.
Way small.
For 5%.
In fact, we're not even taking fees right now.
Right.
Because we've got enough funding and it's not. It's like a growth model where you kind of get enough creators and you don't take a fee and then you keep scaling up.
Yeah.
Actually, right now we don't even take a fee, but 40% is extortionate. Like
it's
no
crazy.
platform should be taking that much. But they all do because they've got so many network effects. It's all centralized.
That's how much the government take off you when
exactly.
you earn over 40 grand.
Definitely.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So
and Vertex isn't the only ad network in the metaverse. So there's multiple, right? So the creators have a choice. Should I go to Vertex or should I go to X company or that company or one of our competitors? So what differentiates us is actually like being really good with customers, really good customer support, really good customer
and they can
service.
advertise, they can the creator can almost display their NFT on your platform, sort of thing. Your
Well,
is
so
that kind of how it works?
They would be getting paid out, right? So they
Right.
wouldn't display their NFT on there.
Yeah.
They would just like have their building,
Right.
put their NFTs up, and then we would just put our ad unit in there.
Right. Okay.
Think about a JC2Go billboard outside. JC2Go essentially, they don't own that land. They just put a billboard up. They just get someone's permission to put a billboard up, and then they find the brand.
Right. So so you just kind of touched on it there about the kind of startup culture. So obviously there's quite a lot of funding behind the company there. Does that make it? What kind of atmosphere does that create? Does it make people more relaxed, you think, or does it, because you think that in a startup where you need to pay the bills or you are gonna, you need to be generating money,
exactly.
that would be a lot more intense. How do you find it? Do you think it's the work rate?
Yeah, the startup model is like super interesting. I don't know how much you guys sort of know about that, but it's this really like sort of new concepts of
have you read the Lean Startup?
Yeah. It's a Bible. It's a Bible.
It's alright.
It's a startup Bible.
I haven't read all of it, but it's, you kind of get the idea though after a while. It's
brilliant for any business. I think the Lean Startup is so customer focused. So like, I mean, you take a normal business, right, which is like you have your overheads, and then you have your revenue that's coming in, and then whatever you've got left there is either profit or loss. Right? So you either make a profit or you make a loss. If you make a loss, you just keep churning away until you make a profit. If you do make a profit, great. Pay yourself, pay your secretary, pay your salaries, etc. Right? The starter model is totally different. The problem with a model like the traditional business model is that you can't make that much money, if that makes sense, right? So like you can't become a Facebook because you're always, as the idea is, as you expand, your sort of overheads increase,
expand,
and so you're really just making roughly the same amount of profit,
the net's just
regardless of it. But exactly, right. Whereas the startup model is much more different, right? So you've got these firms called venture capital firms, and the idea is that they will fund a company who has sort of one product essentially, which is much easier to scale. So they'll fund that startup. They'll tell that startup, you don't need to make a profit, right? So you don't need to sort of push this product out and then have your margins in check and stuff. Just make the best product you can, hire the best people, have the best customer service, and that costs a lot of money, which means you run a loss for a long number of time, like a lot of years. And then at some point, when you've got enough of the market share, you essentially increase your prices and then you're profitable. That's the general idea. So let's take a random example, like, I don't know, contact lenses, right? So let's say just now there are lots and lots of different people offering the consumer contact lenses. Whereas if you've got one company that venture capitals just fund lots and lots of money into, and that contact lens company has the best customer service, the cheapest prices, great quality lenses, etc. They will essentially, all the consumers will then go towards those contact lenses, all the competitors will die out, and then suddenly the contact lens company will hike their prices up because consumers don't have a choice. And so that's
and now they're stuck. The consumers are stuck.
And
it's like Apple kind of.
That's exactly. So Meta, Amazon, they all ran losses. In fact, there's a couple of companies just now who are public who still aren't profitable, but they've got a massive market share. Uber is not profitable.
Yeah, still. I was surprised at that when I seen that.
I'm surprised as well.
Airbnb.
So if this model requires a lot of external capital, then a lot of money to come in. Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
And there's a real criticism of startups that they're a little bit Ponzi schemey, right? So
kind of, because I can understand how people might say that, because there's no money actually being generated. Exactly. It's all just going in, and it's like, you go in.
100%.
But then the value of that company, does it still increase?
Yeah, always starts increasing because it's based on the future projections of when they become super big.
I mean, like, you think about, like, if you sold Uber now, like, how much money they would make back on that. They would probably cover the losses and probably make.
Well, it's not profitable. So so if Uber was to go extinct, someone would run a loss. Like, someone has lost money at that point.
Yeah.
Because there's no extra income for it to go towards the shareholders, right?
Yeah.
So someone would lose money. Yeah. But that's why it can't fail. No one wants it to fail because otherwise everyone will lose their money.
Yeah.
And so Uber's almost like this business where, it doesn't make sense as a business model, but it provides real value to people, and it's just too big to fail at this point. Everyone uses Uber, even though like the business model doesn't work. Like, profitable.
Like Uber Eats, I think you see even that's got even bigger than I would say the taxi side of it, because
because a lot of taxi drivers are now doing Uber Eats, and a lot of taxi drivers are now doing Just Eat, because they don't need to go into the town and like pick up a drunk steaming person and go drop them off.
They can pick up a meal, have a few chips out of the bag.
No one's gonna know. I know.
Look at this model. Look how convenient Uber is.
Yeah.
Like, look at it's too literally easy. Like, I could just go on my app. We can get a munching.
Think about the times when you used to have to phone a taxi. You had to phone a physical person.
That anxiety you
feel. And they were always in the worst moods, weren't they? Like, hello, can I have a taxi? Where are you? Where? And you have to repeat yourself 4 or 5 times. It's always like that, and it was never a good experience. Whereas Uber, it's like I've had bad experience with Uber as well in London.
Right.
Getting off the train. Yeah. My wife's pregnant, it's freezing, and I'm trying to get a taxi. I've pressed the Uber and it says 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away, whatever. 15 minutes goes by, it's been cancelled. But I mean, in general though, it is a big. It provides a lot of value.
Loads of value.
Because you go on the app and it's like ride or eat. So it's like that just gives the user like total flexibility. What do I want? Do I want to order some food? Or do I want to go somewhere?
And because you don't even have to see if you don't have Just Eat or delivery on your phone. most people have got Uber, like
exactly.
so you could just
flick it. It's like don't want to get food and then get an Uber after it.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why that is because there's been so much investment and money pumped into making that experience amazing for you guys, right?
Yeah.
The reason why these taxi companies aren't like Uber is because it just doesn't make sense profitably.
No,
like,
it's not
a profitable.
Yeah.
But obviously you've got venture capital money and like Uber's. But it's like so interesting. Does profit equals value to society? Not necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the drivers were getting paid so well, isn't it? Because of that, because they weren't making a profit. It was just get people in it, and
the signal, the tracking on the app, and
that all costs a lot of money, though, doesn't it? That's where all the money's went. So would you say that for a startup to be successful, for venture capitalists to pump in that kind of money, it needs to be something disruptive, doesn't it? It needs to be something
very important.
new, something. And your company, the company you're working with now, have done that, haven't they? So, before this company, no one else was doing that. Is that right?
So we do have competitors. There are people. There are competitors. So without getting into the sort of technicalities of it, the competitors do something a little bit different. So everyone's making that sort of ad network, but there's just little differences within them that we're all experimenting to see which one is the best model. Right. So our model is a little bit different to the competitors, but there's ad networks and they are venture backed as well. So we're not the only ones. They're in America. A lot of them are.
So like, see, obviously to do what you do you work with like software developers and stuff like that? Like
Yeah, exactly. So
people that sit in dark rooms.
Yeah, exactly. We have a tech team and a commercial team. So just now for our company we've got 3 on the commercial, 3 on the tech. So we've got really talented coders, like back end, front end, like really
mad stuff, right?
Really generalist guy, like really talented. I mean, you think about like apps on your phone, how good the UI. These guys are type of guys that would get hired to make those types of apps. Like they're really talented.
Yeah.
Right. So see, if let's say Blair wanted to do what the Vertidex does, could he, in theory, go home and do that and sell advertising in the Metaverse if he wanted to? If he had
essentially create a Vertex?
Yeah. No, maybe not the whole company, but to actually just, let's say he wanted to. Let's say he wanted to make money, right? He wanted to make a bit of money. Would it be feasible for him to go and find a bit of land or something and get even a small company? I'm not sure who, 100%. But let's say Awaz FM, they wanted 100%. To advertise in the Metaverse. Yeah. Could he do that?
100%. Yeah. So it wouldn't be.
Let's get it out.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a scalable model like we do. So it wouldn't be programmatic advertising. It wouldn't be underlying tech infrastructure. The reason why ours is venture backed is because we can just have this one product and then just like everyone else is self-serve, but we don't even need to get involved anymore. We just keep taking fees, and it's very little overhead eventually. But for example, like, if you wanted to buy land in the Metaverse, and then there are a bunch of big brands out there that want to create an experience for themselves. So Coca-Cola want to have a vending machine in the Metaverse, for example, right? Selling Coke.
All the flavours of Coke and Five Guys. Unlimited refills.
Yeah, exactly. So if you wanted to buy land, and then create a 3D model of a vending machine and then charge Coca-Cola for it, if they agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then you almost make money off that. You make money off that. But
sure.
then how do you create a vending machine in the Metaverse?
You can do that. So
that's like that's
3D modeling. Through 3D modeling.
You can do that. You do CAD.
No, that's drawn office, mate. That's drawn office.
He literally does that.
That's not me. That's not me.
He can do it. Right,
have you heard of Blender?
What, Blender?
Yeah, Blender. It's like a 3D modeling software.
Right, okay, so do you do it?
You can use Blender to create
protein
3D
shakes,
man.
man.
It's difficult, man. 3D modeling. It's hard.
So 3D, that is what, like, I've done a bit of it. Is CAD not 3D modeling?
I CAD, but we don't really do CAD in my work. It's more the.
But you have done it, haven't you?
It's a different.
We're doing it tonight, Blair. We're gonna.
I'm gonna go home after this, mate. I'm gonna sit in the Metaverse with my avatar. I'm never gonna see the light of day again.
Selling Coke in the Metaverse.
I know. Coca-Cola.
You had Akabon recently.
Yeah.
And he's done really well. He's a social media marketer.
Yeah. Is he advertised in the Metaverse?
Yeah, so exactly. So he's got digital marketing.
Right.
So he utilizes a bunch of different channels like Facebook ads and photography and video to get brands to sort of increase their presence online. he could literally easily add a fifth option that is in the metaverse.
In the metaverse,
Right. Just buy a bunch of land, create an
Now,
experience.
this is the other thing. Now, when you advertise on Facebook, you can see your demographic. You can see the people that. Can you do that yet in the?
This is what we are trying to do.
Right.
This metric-based approach. So find out who's viewing your ads. You know.
Then it'll be huge. Then it'll be really valuable.
Yeah.
Because that's how.
Now you can see your target audience. It's like how you can see your target audience.
Advertising is exactly.
If you're not targeting, you don't know. You could be wasting a lot of money that way. You know what I mean? So that's definitely.
But then the other thing is, like, so obviously you said decentralized land. How do you get into that way of like getting into that? Like, how do you make an avatar to get into this? So is it like, do you just do it through a computer?
Yeah, that's actually quite easy.
You just make an account on.
Yeah, that's easy. But so you'll need you can use the offline version, but don't worry about that. So what you'll need is a crypto wallet. So a MetaMask wallet. I don't know if you. I think
MetaMask. Yeah, I've got one.
MetaMask. You got MetaMask, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to get my money out of it. It's stuck in there.
But the UX man is bad on that.
Yeah.
So you have a MetaMask wallet. That is essentially what you call a portal to Web3. So your crypto wallet doesn't have to be MetaMask. It can be anything. This is essentially what the Web3 community calls your portal to Web3. So you go on your browser. As soon as you have a MetaMask wallet, you can enter Web3 with that login. Right? So you can enter Decentraland with your MetaMask wallet.
Is there a cash machine on there where I can take my money out? Because that's really all I want to do.
There is a cash machine, but man, the UX is bad to take your money out in crypto.
It says free cash above it.
UX, what is that?
User experience. It's just so bad.
But what? So you've got that. So is this through like the dark web, or is it just through normal web? It's just through normal web. Aye, it's just through normal websites.
Because it all started there.
You probably would have, man. It probably would have.
It's so interesting. By the way, I've never actually thought about it. Like that analogy that.
A meta dark web. A metaverse dark web.
Like your crypto wallet is essentially a portal into a different type of web. Web3. But we don't call it the dark web because the dark web is sleazy, right? We call it Web3 now. It's more mainstream.
So I take the MetaMask and that is like my ID or my pass
ID,
to get into
exactly
Decentraland. I
exactly.
use that to get into Decentraland.
Like a key. It's like a key.
Yeah, it's a key for okay.
Exactly.
So I've been using it completely wrong then. I've just been looking at it and like, why is the money not coming out?
That's so if you just put your money in and hold it, it's useless. Like, you're not going to use it with things like interaction and stuff.
But just on that, that's
obviously onto the cryptocurrency sort of thing. So do you think this is just going to like absolute boom? Like, I mean, I've been quite like I used to always just take my like wallet out and just do spending through like my bank card, but now I've got like a Monzo and I've eventually set up my Apple Pay in my wallet and stuff just because I was like, it's just if I've not got my wallet I can still buy stuff, you know what I mean? If I've like forgotten in the house. But do you think cryptocurrency is like the way forward?
The way forward, my god, that is some question. I love the question. Like full transparency as well, by the way, I only got into this Web3 crypto stuff in probably like last year, like November last year, and like the questions I was asking was like totally arbitrary questions. I had no idea what I was doing, so I had a friend who was really into. He'd been into it since like 2017, so I essentially like created a group chat with him and just like hounded him with questions like this, the dumbest questions like why do we have this, why do we have that. I'll be honest. The truth and the honest to God, the truthful answer is I have absolutely no idea what's gonna happen with this. Like no idea. And the reason why it's so hard to predict is like if you imagine, you guys are sort of roughly my age, right? So you guys knew when Facebook came out in 2007, right?
Aye.
Did anyone predict how big that company would get?
No.
I thought it was just going to be another like Bebo.
It's just
Bebo.
I know.
Posting shite statuses, right?
People probably thought we were still going to be an MSN just now.
Exactly. Posting shite statuses like this is what I had for like lunch or something. Like this is my mom. Like this.
Like for LPC, like for
like for LPC, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
you never seen the way to make money from it, like the way that the company would make money from it and how they would grow. So
and now there's multi-million-pound agencies that are built on Facebook.
And because I remember you saying this at the event, you're saying that there was no utility, like there's no real utility for Facebook other than people to come and post stuff. But now obviously businesses advertise and it's huge. Yeah, there was another example you gave about, was it coal?
It was oil.
Oil, yeah.
Tell
us about that.
Yeah, so this is an example I use. One of my friends came up with this. He's a really intelligent guy, and and he basically said that when oil was first discovered in the late 1800s, there was absolutely no use case for it. No one had a clue what this like weird liquid was, and so people would like set it on fire
Just
and
for
like
the
chuck
ban-
it on people. Yeah, just for
yeah.
a banner. Just chuck it on people, set it on fire, just do stupid shit with it, right?
Yeah.
But as a commodity, people knew that this was different and new. It would still get traded on the markets. So
Yeah.
its price would keep going up because people would still buy and sell it, and the price still went up.
Yeah.
The more people put it on fire, the more people traded it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then eventually, World War II, World War One, and World War II happened, and we changed from horse cars to mechanical vehicles like cars. And suddenly we realised, actually, hang on a minute, these cars run on oil. Crazy use case that is, right?
Yeah.
And so after World War II, when sort of capitalism started booming, oil's value just skyrocketed. And now look at it, right?
It's mad.
People get killed over it. Wars are fought
So
over
mad,
it. It powers all of our sort of energy uses. It makes every like that PC, your phone, plastic is created through oil. It's crazy. And so I guess like you can make the same analogy with pretty much anything, right? You can be like, oh, this was useless, and but with Bitcoin it seems like that, right? So it seems like people have no idea what this use case is, right? They have no idea what the future might look like, but the fact that this is like a decentralized currency that you don't need a middleman in, and then you can just like trade totally like without any intervention between one person and another, without a bank or without anything, that just seems super interesting. And so that's why it's getting traded so much.
And do you think that mainstream business or what you'd say the man, the governments and stuff don't like it, and I know they don't like it, but do you think they could potentially stop it being used? Do you think that's possible?
Right. I mean,
VPNs, mate. Like, I mean, like the IP address. How you like? I mean, like that's probably how they can stop it.
Yeah.
That's.
See, this is like.
But let's say one day, like if major banks stopped accepting it.
Okay. So like,
what would happen?
Thingy your card if you like made a crypto purchase, for example.
My bank actually doesn't let me buy.
Yeah, they're very weird about that. Like, all I'll say to that is so. So like this is what law kind of taught me. Is that sometimes it's a bit useless, right? Law. So let's say tomorrow the government announced that all cryptocurrency and NFTs are banned, right?
Yeah.
That for some people that might be put off in terms of like buying crypto, etc. But all that's going to do is like anyone who's built up foundations in cryptocurrency or businesses or the future or whatever it is, they're either going to move to a country or a city that is crypto friendly, in which case that country is going to get all the fruits of their labor, right? Or it's going to continue in a way that people will circumvent the law somehow and create some new product that will be just as effective. And so like it's just a constant cat and mouse, and so like if you kind of believe in this technology, if you're a smart government, and there are some out there, but if you're a smart government, like you would probably embrace this and try and regulate it so that it's kind of fair for everyone, not just a wild house. But you have to embrace some of this stuff because there's trillions in cryptocurrency in the market out there. People's fortunes are reliant on this, and so if you ban it, you're gonna have a lot of unhappy people in your country, and no one wants that because politicians want power. So.
I also think like this sort of metaverse thing, like see how obviously you mentioned their Facebook, and that as well. Like see how when we were younger and we were growing up, like it was just like we were the age group of when Facebook kind of took off and Instagram. But I think like see the people that were our age when that took off, I think metaverse will probably take off for them. And we'll just be sitting there like, what is up with the technology these days, man? Like this is.
I saw a stat the other day. So Generation Z is, I'm just made the cut in Gen Z, right? But I don't class myself with Gen Z.
What age are you?
24.
right.
So
we're
I'm 25, so what is Z? Where is
right, so the last time I heard it was 96.
96 to the end of it.
So if you're born before if you're born after 96, you're Gen Z.
Oh, right.
Right.
So you guys.
Yeah, I'm 97.
But I think the Gen Z's currently, like my sister, they're very different to us.
Like, mate, it's like
so people are like a few in the 20s now.
Yeah, kind of. Right? But the generation after us is called Generation Alpha.
Oh, right.
Mm.
I
So
heard
that
of
would be like my little cousin. Is
Yeah,
like 1 year old.
Oh, right, the
Mm.
alpha, right.
So like, you take my cousin for example, right, who grew up sort of with iPads and
Understand,
like,
yeah.
YouTube and stuff.
Mm.
She knew before she was 1 year old. I swear to God, couldn't believe this. She knew when an ad popped up on YouTube when she was watching cartoon to skip the ad after 5 seconds.
And how old is
After
she?
5 seconds, and she was 8 months old at this point.
Wow.
8 months.
Jeez.
Amazing, isn't it?
It's crazy, and so this
It's not-
generation is growing up with immersive content
Right.
and interactable content. Like their future is
So,
virtual.
That's
reality.
funny you're saying that because I've just had a wee girl when my
Yeah,
dad
yeah,
said
yeah.
to me, he says, make sure she's not on that iPad. make all the kids are all on the iPad. But I used to kind of think about like that as well. They should be out, and yes, they should be out and play more. But see, to say they can to completely not have any technology, it would be the equivalent of not learning to read and write
That's it,
for our
exactly.
generations. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So they have to know how to use technology, or they'll fall back.
And now we
In
know
moderation, I think.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
moderation.
definitely.
and now we know that this is monetizable, right? So like, okay, I get it. My mum's told me not to go on Facebook, but she had no idea that you can make money off Facebook
Exactly.
eventually.
Mm.
It probably would better off staying off Facebook.
Yeah.
And be as successful as I could also, right?
Yeah.
Instead, look at me. I did a law degree. That's shite.
Nice one, man. Aye, so we usually finish things off in the podcast with a round of quick fire,
for
10
sure.
quick fire
Yeah.
questions. So
Let's go.
I'll go for the first 5,
Right,
you go
go
for the
ahead.
second. Right, so number 1, favourite book that you've read?
Favorite book?
Yeah, favourite book.
Sapiens, Yuval Noah Harari. Really good book. Really would recommend that.
Okay, favourite movie?
Wolf of Wall Street.
Alright.
Awesome. Interesting. What would your last ever meal be?
Chicken shawarma and chips.
Nice
I
one.
thought you were Pakistani, man.
What's the one thing you could never live without?
Oh God. My brain.
Good one.
No, I mean that's. Are you talking about objects?
Just
Something
anything,
like
man.
some people say your phone or whatever.
Or
But
even like it could be like a person.
A person.
You want or like just anything, mate. Like just.
I'm gonna say my Kindle. I'm gonna say my Kindle.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What's your favourite thing to do to relax?
Go to the gym, probably.
Nice one. Good
Boring.
stuff. He's a gym lad. Come on.
Oh, that's good, mate. That's good. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Know what other people are thinking.
That's quite good for his like sort of.
Aye.
That's quite good for his like sort of
Yeah.
obviously like.
Know what girls are thinking.
Mel Gibson, What Women Want. What's the best bit of advice you've got?
Best bit of advice.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'll probably give it to someone younger, right? So that probably makes a lot of sense. Define your purpose in life, so whatever that is, and then every decision you make, find out if that is furthering that purpose, and if it's not, you need to leave whatever situation you're in. So whatever that purpose is.
What would you say to your teenage self if you could go back as a ghost? Or go back in time?
Oh God.
Leave uni.
Do you want the honest answer? I was a pretty fat kid.
Alright.
Growing up. Yeah, I was a pretty fat kid.
Like
so
how big I was too.
I don't know.
What were you? I was,
Mate, I
so
was kinda-
13, 13, from 12,
Yeah.
13, 14, 12 stone, 13 stone, 14 stone, that was
Oh
me.
shit.
I stopped at 15,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
God. I started boxing and lost it again, but you can still see now I'm a big
No, but
big guy.
I was the same. That was the same with me before I got into swimming. And I remember primary school, it was like everyone was like, "Oh, like he's like not fit and stuff." And I remember I kept on swimming like 4, 5, 6 times a week. And then when I got to cross country, I was just boss. Everyone's like, "Where did this come from?" man?"
Exactly.
So you would say exercise more,
Not just exercise more, but just like
eat less.
like eventually you'll become like, you won't stay like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
As long as you work at it, like you won't stay like
Yeah,
that.
not to get
Like,
down about it, because
not
I
to get
used
down
to
about
get
it, man.
seriously
It was bad, bro.
mentally.
Especially
Ev-
up in mates, all my mates were skinny, man.
Oh,
They
is
took
it?
the piss,
Mate,
honestly.
see, for me, my family was probably once. I tell you, once my dad was getting me ready we were going to a wedding, right?
Yeah.
And my belly wouldn't fit in my trousers, and he gave it to me like he was shouting at me like, "Watch, look, watch where you're going."
Yeah.
And
So bad,
times like that, and you kind of feel that when people are say like calling you
that's a
fat, it's
bad
the
one, bro.
worst. It's probably one of the worst things.
Yeah.
And you don't want to eat in front of people and things like that. It's definitely
we can bond on that. Former fat boys.
Fat boys for life, man. Fat boys for life. And that's why I see now. I don't care. I'll eat with the food like fall out my mouth. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah. What's the best place you've ever visited?
Best place.
Yeah, it could be anywhere, anything.
Anywhere.
Could be a cave or anything.
I'd probably say Split in Croatia. And Split in Croatia was just a great holiday for anyone.
Yeah,
just
I've heard of Croatia's great.
For mates, for your wife, for your partner, for your family. Like,
good weather and that, is it?
Yeah, good weather. It's a lot of tourists. It's a lot of stuff to do.
Chilling and that.
Good place.
Is it quite in the scene? That
Yeah. On the sea, great food. Really good holiday destination.
Good stuff.
This is the last one, right?
Yeah.
Would you rather go back in time or travel into the future? And you can't come back. You can't come back. So if you go in the future, that's
a twist in this.
Yeah, it's
a twist in this question now.
Future, 100%.
I could tell that before we started the round of quick fire. I think I could just
probably knew that.
Yeah,
the future,
I think
100%.
Yeah, because I'm kind of saying a lot of people say they said to me when I was younger, like, oh, when you get older you wish you were back. I really don't wish I was back in uni. I don't wish I was back in school. I look forward more to the future like that, because
I think for me personally I would maybe go different. I would like to go back to like 80s to see what like life was like in the 80s or the 90s.
Sure.
Like when you've not got like Google Maps and it's like an OS map
mate,
and you're
I
like
would hate
driving,
that.
mate.
I would hate that.
Mate, like don't get me wrong.
You would definitely be a rave DJ.
yeah.
Eckies in both pockets, full to the brim.
Not anymore, man. Not anymore. But no, mate. Like I would just like to see what just like the not even like just to see even like Glasgow in the 80s or like the 90s, like see when you see like pictures of it, you're like, wow, that was mad, mate.
My
like,
dad says to me sometimes we'll go to places like Clarkston and even he goes, mate, this was all farmland. See when
mate,
like 60
mad.
years ago, there's pictures of now where their shop is at Castlemilk, and that whole bit was just all farmland. I think 40, 50 years ago it was all just
built that.
It's all just been developed. And if you look at it, if you go out to places like now, like Motherwell and like bits of like these towns are expanding, West Mahego, all these wee towns, you just see them popping up all over the place. They are building on farmland. So
prime example of that's like Mearns, see Newton Mearns. Honestly, like money, like value for money there is just for a builder as well. Yeah. Like obviously you're into property, it's just like so like if you got a bit of land there, a plot, and you build on it, mate, you're making mad money. Like,
I mean, there's a higher quality of finish required as well, because obviously of the area, people are going to be paying that much. They want a good kitchen, they want a good bathroom. But yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
There's so much money to be made.
The future for sure, but a long time in the future to see how like AI and machine learning
scares me, man.
And how all it kind of whether robots actually.
What is that I heard? Do you know how the artificial intelligence, before we wrap up? Yeah. It was like, so I heard on a podcast that someone said that it's not going to be us that like end the world because of like nukes and stuff like that. It'll be artificial intelligence, because someone will think something and it'll just press a button and then just like do you know what I think? Because I mean everyone's scared to do it, but if a machine or like a control panel for that nuke,
if there's the right conditions
was artificial intelligent and like seeing someone was searching one day on something that's just gonna could just go boom.
I think there would always be a physical
element
for someone would have to press. See the steps taken for now to launch a nuke. I can't even talk about it, but it's not
serious.
It's not like getting the codes and then
there's a few steps involved.
There's a few steps.
And the CIA top secret.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Anyway, Harris, thanks very much for coming. This has been one of my favourite episodes. I've learned so much. That's why I keep asking every single question. I'm going to try this when I get home.
That's a pleasure. And if there's any people who want to get into tech startups or any graduates that are a bit lost, like message me on LinkedIn or Instagram.
Where can they find you?
Harris Mahmood on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Very active. But message me on Instagram, Harris _M98.
Yeah, nice one. Links in the bio, trips.
Yeah, alright.
You know where I get them.